will start off by bringing a little joy and laughter into the moment. And with my new golf joke book, I found a cute one to share today, and it's titled The Lucky Frog. So a man took a day off work and decided to go out golfing. He was on the second hole when he noticed a frog sitting next to the green. He thought nothing of it and was about to shoot when he hears, "Ribbit, 9-iron." The man looks around and doesn't see anyone. So he tries again and hears again, "Ribbit, 9-iron." He looks at the frog and decides to prove the frog wrong. He puts his other club away and grabs a 9-iron. Boom! He hits a birdie and he's shocked and said to the frog, "Wow, that's amazing. You must be a lucky frog, huh?" The frog replied, "Ribbit, lucky frog, lucky frog." The man decided to take the frog with him on the next hole. "What do you think, frog?" the man asked. "Ribbit, 3 wood," in the reply. The guy took out a 3 wood, boom, hole in one, and the man is befuddled and doesn't know what to say. By the end of the day, the man golfed the best game of his life and asked the frog, "Okay, where to next?" The frog replied, "Ribbit, Las Vegas." The frog and the man go to Las Vegas, and the guy says, "Okay, now what?" The frog says, "Ribbit, roulette." Upon approaching the roulette table, the man asked, "What do you think I should bet?" The frog replied, "Ribbit, $3,000 on black 6. So now there's a 1,000,000 to 1 shot that this will win. But after the golf game, the man figured, what the heck? Boom, tons of cash came sliding back across the table. The man took his winnings and buys the best room in the hotel. He sat the frog down and said, "Frog, I don't know how to reply to you. You won me all this money and I'm forever grateful." The frog replies, "Ribbit, kiss me." He figures, why not? Since all the frog did for him, he deserved it. So he kissed the frog. All of a sudden, the frog turned into the most gorgeous 16-year-old girl in the world. And that, Your Honor, is how the girl ended up in my hotel room. In case you were wondering, there you go. Again, laughter is healing, happy, healthy cells, right? So in the meditation, it was really a meditation intended to help us go in and let go of our false self, our false identity. You know, we're so programmed to, we come out as little babies and immediately we're programmed to sort of fit in to maybe our family, our society, what the school tells us, what church tells us, what the media tells us. And before you know it, we've established our personality, which is false, at a very young age. And we identify with that, and we keep building on that, thinking that, well, if I do this, then I can accomplish this goal, and if I go to this college, then I can have all these goodies and a big house or whatever, it is we set out to achieve. And, those things are not necessarily bad things. They're not bad things at all. But what can happen is we can shift to put our attention and our focus on illusion rather than truth. So we think that that's going to be what makes us happy. If only I can accomplish that. If only I can get my body to do this. If only I can make this much money, etc., then I'll be happy. But that's a useless journey because it's never one that provides anything for us except more need to search and look and find something else. I think we've all been there and can relate to that. Well, I always loved Oscar Wilde, and he said that if you know what you want to be, then you inevitably will become it. That is your punishment. But if you never know, then you can be anything. There is a truth to that. We are nouns. We are not nouns. We are verbs. I'm not a thing, an actor, a writer. I am a person who does things. I write, I act, and I never know what I'm going to do next. I think you can be imprisoned if you think of yourself as a noun. And I think that's so important because, you know, we're not that which we think we are. We do these things, but we're not that. We're greater than that. And the more we can let go of that identification, we can empty ourselves to receive fully the truth of who we are, which is ultimately an extension of God. We are created in that likeness and image. And somehow we forgot that that is so much greater than anything that we accomplish in our day-to-day lives. But we keep looking, seeking but not finding. So we need to look and ask ourselves, you know, where are we still holding ourselves prisoner? What are we still holding on to, making those demands and seeking? And, you know, I find so many people that are, that I talk to that find their greatest level of peace when they can just let go a little bit, surrender and open up and not look so hard. It's already there. It's a peeling away of the layers, not about piling more onto it. So we need to really question and look at ourselves and say, well, what am I still holding on to that's keeping me, that veil between me and truth, me and God? And the one who says, I can't go beyond my mind, is not the real self. It's a mixture of presence and person, and is therefore still a distortion of consciousness. That which perceives or observes this is the true self. Be that. And that was a quote from Mooch. And it's, I think that that's so true. It's the one who says, you know, I can't go beyond myself. And it's about recognizing that we're the observer. Who we are is the person watching that, not the person doing that. We've talked a lot about, in the past week in our group, living in non-duality, which is, I believe, possible. I really do. I know it's possible. I think we've all had glimpses of that. But we have to let go of our story. And we have to let go of the belief that we're a body, or that we are not this body. We are so much greater than that. We're an energy field of unlimited possibilities is who we really are and what we really are. But to do that, we have to really let go. And this is a powerful statement also. It says the self, the true self, has nothing to overcome, not even the mind. It has nothing to fight, not even the devil, because it knows that this is all just a dream. And I believe that, you know, so often we think that this journey to awakening or self-realization has to be an arduous, long, tedious path. But really, it's in the blink of an eye, we can be awake. Again, I truly know that that's possible. And the more we can allow ourselves to let go of all of our false beliefs, our programs, our judgments, our belief in separation, little by little, that'll melt away. But if I truly just let it go, that's where the good stuff is. That's where the gold is. I really believe that. And so it's, you know, in something that I've read recently, you know, we're in the process here. I was fortunate, had a great meeting with the bank this week, the bank. And, you know, those are, I always get a little like, okay, well, what's this going to be? Is he going to laugh in my face when I tell him, like, what we're thinking about? But actually, for those of you that don't know, we're in the process of creating a beautiful new center. And it's going to be fantastic on so many levels. And so I go to the bank and I'm like, okay, here's what we need and here's what we've got. He's like, you know, you guys are really in good shape. He goes, you can't imagine what I see. I'm like, yes. So, so I was happy to hear that. And also he gave us a good plan. It's a starting point. And I don't want to go into all the details. But the point is it was hopeful. I was like, cool. And he's willing to come. This guy is precious. He's going to come and talk to the group when the time is right. And it's something that I believe we can really make happen. And it's very, very awesome. So in this process, or in the process of life for all of us, I think the detachment is a big part of the mix here. And as I've said many times, this endeavor was not something I set out for, I can promise you that. And actually it's turned into a much grander vision than I ever imagined. And so I've just been showing up every day, just, okay, Spirit, show me what, where to go, what to do, what to say. That's the Course in Miracles way to live, which is we're really tuning in with our higher self, being led. And all of a sudden the land appeared, and then the original idea, well, okay, we've got the most economical thing to do is to just put a steel building up, and I was cool with that. I wouldn't care if it was a grass hut, really. But then all of a sudden, the cool architect came in with great plans, Richard. And it's like, oh my God, this is not a building, this is like a spaceship, and the energy is like, and everything is intentional, and I was like, oh my gosh. And you could just feel it, and I'm like, wow, that's cool. Guess what, it costs 3 times as much as the steel building, and so it's like, okay, not attaching to fear, okay, I'm not gonna go there, because again, it's a total God thing. And sometimes I hear over the past few months that I'm obsessed with this, and I'm really not. I'm really not. Because if I was, I'd probably have a nervous breakdown. So I've decided that again to let Spirit totally take the reins here, and be detached, but knowing that or something better, and something better could be the grass hut. I don't know, but. I think the law of detachment, and this was something that Deepak Chopra had shared, just 3 little points, but number 1, allow ourselves and others the freedom to be who they are. And so often when we're attached, it's like, I need you to be this way for me to be okay, or I don't like this situation, and until you change it, I'm not going to accept it. And live and let live. Let go, let God. It's really none of our business. It's really what other people do or think or say. It's a big lesson. One of my favorite lines is, what other people think of me is none of my business. And it's so true. So allow ourselves that freedom. And I think the more we allow ourselves that gift of that non-expectation, just acceptance of self, the more we do that for ourselves, the easier it is to offer that gift and blessing to everyone else. So allow ourselves and others the freedom to be who we are. This one is big because this is totally where I am, and I ask you all to support the center in this vision, is not to force the solution. Allow the solutions to spontaneously emerge. And that space of allowing is so huge. Again, whatever it is, whether it's a new building or whatever, it's about just being in that space of allowing emptiness and opening ourselves up and knowing that Spirit totally has our back, totally. And there is nothing we can make up for our life, no agenda, no plan. As A Course in Miracles says, only God's plan for salvation will work. And it also says a healed mind doesn't plan. And for some people, they say that's poppycock. Well, yeah, you got to make plans. You got to have goals and this and that. And I find more and more, I'm finding that less and less important in my own life. I'm just in a state of surrender. And things just tend to work out because I'm not putting the energy of fear onto it or having to make it happen or a timeline. The center could pop up there tomorrow, or it could be 10 years from now or 20 years from now, and whatever, it's cool. It's all good. And we just got to know that Spirit's got our back. That's one example of everything I think we want to bring into our lives. But it's not out there looking, it's just be open. For some reason, we think that Spirit or God or our higher self, just as Marianne Williamson said, may have lost our file. So just in case our file's been lost, I got to handle this one. But that's not true. Our divine mind is there, ready and willing and able, more than able, to support us in all ways. And uncertainty, that's a scary place to be. That place of not knowing, uncertainty. And this goes on to say uncertainty is essential and your path to freedom. So I really, again, that hit home because I'm not certain about anything. And to be honest with you, I don't think we can say we are. We can sit here and have these good solid plans and ideas in our life, but don't look to those to be your salvation or your savior or your protection. I think that in uncertainty, we're creating a space for allowing the greater good to come in. And that is the true path to freedom. So it's, again, Marianne Williamson, I've gotten back into her because I'm going to read something else from her. But she says, the key to abundance is meeting limited circumstances with unlimited thoughts. And that goes back to very early in A Course in Miracles where it says, there is no order of difficulty in miracles, meaning one is not greater or harder than another. There's no level of difficulty except in our limited beliefs. Our mortal minds will sit there and say, that's insane. What are you thinking you can accomplish this? Well, it's that Steve Jobs quote I read a while ago. It's be one of the misfits, the crazy people who think they can change the world because they're the ones who do. It's not the ones who sit there and go in the box, but really those who are willing to think outside of the box, be expanded, be open, and trusting. And this does require faith. And the one thing that I believe that we have to understand too, and I appreciate so much with this group, is seeing the trust and kind of like the stress, just being washed away. It's because we know everything's going to be all right. We've got a great community here, and people do have each other's back and support each other and are honoring of each other. And we're all, as the Course says, we're all teachers and we're all students. So the Course in Miracles says, those of us who seem to temporarily have more, share that with those who seem to temporarily have less. So it's that exchange, but knowing that we're all one. And giving from the place that if I temporarily seem to have more in one arena, then I can share that, and it's reciprocal. So we all have gifts to share and support each other. And when I see the support and the love and honoring of each other in many different ways, comes in lots of different forms, it's awesome. But we have to understand that the fear doesn't come from God. That comes from our ego mind, our judgment, and thinking in the past. So this reading here is today, I align myself with the will of a loving universe. The universe is not random, but intentional. As a reflection of divine mind, it intends love and happiness for all living things. The question I want to ask myself in any situation is, am I aligned with the will of the universe? If I am only seeking my own goals, if I am blaming anyone or living in the past, if I am competing but not collaborating, then I'm not aligned with a loving universe. I choose instead a miraculous path. I enter every situation with only one intention, to be a vessel of love and a blessing on my surroundings. May all people who I meet or even think of receive my love. I wouldn't worry whether the universe intends my greater good, for it intends a greater good for all living things. The divine weaver is always weaving. I am a thread in the eternal tapestry of God's golden creation, no more or no less than anyone else. My accepting this allows me to relax into a content knowing that I am blessed. I shall feel this blessing as I choose to bless others. And I just find that so beautiful because it's about aligning ourselves with a loving universe. Saying to yourself, the universe is here to support me. not the universe is out to get me. I believe it was Einstein who says, we need to ask ourselves, do I believe that the universe is for me or against me? I'm saying that very loosely, paraphrasing. But the universe is for us. God is for us, and the way we can put this into our own life is not only being for ourselves, but being for each other selflessly. And when we get that understanding that we are all one, and that experience, that just becomes a natural part of who we are. And so the universe is for all of us. And I see that every day so beautifully here at our center. So in closing, the Course in Miracles talks about training our mind. It's a course in mind training. What are we feeding ourselves? We pay attention, some of us, to what we put in our physical bodies, food-wise, but what thoughts, what feelings, what intentions, ideals and goals am I feeding myself? And it's really important to ask ourselves, is this thought moving me closer to heaven or keeping me stuck in the dream? Every time, question every thought we have. But to even keep it simpler is saying to yourself, I only want to know God's thoughts. That's it. I think Einstein always said that as well. And he didn't do too bad himself, because he opened himself up to a miraculous mind, not a limited mind. All else is just nonsense. So we open ourselves up to only God thoughts, love thoughts, kindness to each other, honoring of each other, non-judgment. Your mind will always believe everything you tell it. So we need to feed it hope, feed it truth, and feed it love. And I love this Rumi quote, and I will close with this, and it says, live life as if everything is rigged in your favor, because it is. And so it is. Namaste.